08 Escalade, man. It's cold out here. Doing the strut assembly. It's 3 18mm bolts that hold it on. I'm doing the passenger side right now. It's the hardest side. Driver's side is the easiest. As you can see, you're gonna disconnect the sensor for the leveling, air sensor, leveling sensor, whatever. You know what it is on this suspension system stuff. Once we get those 3 nuts out at the top, we're gonna come down here and get these 2 15mm bolts out through the bottom. All right, get them 2 15mm out the control arm. As you can see, it's loose, but it still doesn't want to come out. That's when you're gonna have to bust out a $18mm for the upper control arm nut. Here's where it gets kind of annoying, but just stick in there, and then we're gonna separate our tie rod from the knuckle as well with the 21mm or 22. There's gonna be enough space to get a socket in there, so get you a ratchet wrench. And if you don't have any, I strongly suggest investing in some. That way it can take less time than it already takes now. All right, as you can see, I already got the steering rod in and out with our pickle fork and our hammer. Just take it, hit it, until it's separated. Don't be scared to get it separated. Use whatever frustration you created while trying to remove those 2 nuts. Now you're gonna have to finesse the, I'm gonna have to finesse that around. Don't get your wire hook hung up on nothing for your wheel speed sensor. Make sure that's free. And now we can get that out of there. Yours might be a little harder, but this control arm is new, so that's why it moves like that. Right, the sensor is held on with a metal push tab. Push that in, take the sensor out. This is an 18mm. Loosen it with your wrench in the car. But of course, I'm gonna put an 18mm deep well on it and screw it off. All right, that's what it's gonna look like. Put it on the new shock, righty tighty. Let's turn our gun up a little bit. Got to screw down so no more threads are visible. As for that sensor, we're gonna hold off on it because we're gonna snake the assembly back up through this opening, and I find it easier to wait to push the sensor back down on this tube right here when it's installed in the car. Oh yeah, when you're putting it in go ahead and make sure your mounting nuts are off, and then when you're putting it in the car, screw one of these mounting nuts in to hold it up so you're not struggling to hold up a shock and align everything else. All right, there's our 1 nut we got screwed on. Then we're gonna take us a big screwdriver and push down on the control arm so we can get that shock back over. Bolts in by hand first. You might have to move the shock around to get it stable. Now after that, let's go ahead and put the upper control arm and the steering, the tie rod back into their slots. Grab you a floor jack that you use to lift the car. Make sure you align everything and start lifting up by the stud on the lower control arm ball joint. Say what you want, but that's where I'm lifting. All right, once you get your ball joint back in for your tie rod, just screw that in. Once you get the ball joint back in for upper control arm, go ahead and screw that in. Let's go ahead and tighten those down, and then we'll work on mounting up on top and we'll be done. You're either gonna get stuck trying to screw these old ball joint in because it keeps spinning, or you're gonna get vice grip stuck. I think I'd rather get the vice grip stuck. push the boot back down. Whatever you expose, make sure you push it back down. Oh wow. The trick to keep that top one from spinning was vice grips on the tie rod end. It's a 10 millimeter hex right here. So you're gonna take an adjustable, put it on that, and then put a 10 millimeter on this and drive it to the left, because we're going reverse threads. Drive it to the left, we're just gonna tighten this. Once you get the tie rod tightened, don't forget to tighten up those two 15 millimeters on the bottom. And once we go here up top, there's the one we screwed in. There's the one you see me getting off with a wrench earlier, because it's under the AC line. And then of course that one back there in the corner is easier to get. All right, now take your sensor in that same metal tube we was working with it off the car. Just take it, push it down. It'll make a small click once it's on there. And you can kind of tug it up and rotate it on there and make sure it's on there. As far as the connector, it only goes in one way. You cannot see anything, but the connector goes in one way. And that's what it looks like reassembled and plugged back in. Now for this one right here, these new nuts are 15 millimeter, and this one right here, you're just simply gonna have to get through the passenger well, because I'm not, I mean, you could try to conjure something up, but I'm just doing what works for me with the time set and the light that I'm giving. So 15 millimeter, get you some gear wrenches. Invest in your craft. And put this tire back on, guys. And guess what? We done. Thank you for watching another production from King Mechanics Garage Gang. Let's get it.